White Supremacy. I guess I'm Red Hat Guy today. You were Red Hat Guy last week.
Yeah.
I'm just Siri X. He's a different person. I'm not. Yeah. I'm the other light-skinned guy. I am co-founder and CEO of One Hood Media. But I mean, should we? It's so funny that we say our names,
right? And people still don't know. And then even in the lower 3/4,
our names are listed.
Yeah,
and nobody cares.
It just shows Americans can't read.
No, it's because there's only one name on this show that matters.
That's the only.
Oh my God!
To my right.
I believe in miracle.
But we said miracle and them other niggas.
That's what the show should be called. Miracle and them other niggas.
Miracle, how are you doing today?
You know, I'm doing good.
Your nails are cute.
Thank you. You know, it's Miracle, aka Busting with the Big Blood.
Oh, they know your name.
Yeah, they know you, Miracle. If they don't know nobody else, Miracle gets stopped in the street. We were in San Francisco.
Oh my God.
4 of us. Who got stopped? Miracle.
That is
I
true.
love you.
Yes.
We're going to get pizza.
Yes.
Miracle and them other niggas,
That's
man.
real love, man.
It is, man. The
That's
streets
why
love
she's
Miracle,
doing the spinoff, the Brunch with a Black Man spinoff.
We got brunch with a black man and then pancakes and Palestinians right after that.
Oh, and then my Palestinian friend said we should call it Brunch with Baddies. Brunch with a baddie. So then we can have multiple people doing multiple brunches.
You know what? Brunch with a baddie is I would tune in.
Facts.
And my brother.
You know, it's the chill guy himself.
Yes.
Trouble in LS. Next level shaman. Never like supremacy. There we go. I want to say to the people that love me from the show, y'all know who you are. They follow me directly.
Oh, wow.
And we have conversations on Instagram.
Beautiful.
You know,
It's funny because I feel like maybe we need some like if you ever turn up, we need to play like some like Rage Against the Machine, some turn up music, and then you just gotta go crazy because it is getting more and more difficult to be chill.
It is
over these last couple of weeks. And my brother,
I'm just a toxic heartthrob offering truth.
Okay.
What does that stand for?
Spell it out.
Okay.
But I'm wrong.
Okay.
You know how gratifying it is to be a thought in someone's mind.
That's all I got is thoughts and prayers, man.
Oh my God. Man, you know, it is so much.
Yeah.
It's interesting because, you know, I'm normally the person who sends in the stories, right? The links.
Right, yeah.
And it's so many links.
Yeah.
From last week to this week.
A lot has been happening.
A lot. I mean,
this season of America has produced so much content.
It seems like every day is like another like end of the world type event, right? An extinction level event.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Every day, you know, we're dealing with, you know, now all of a sudden we don't know if Ukraine and Russia invaded Ukraine. I mean, literally the United States voted on the side of Iran, North Korea, and Russia.
Yeah.
Against the world community. We don't know now if Putin is a dictator. Trump calls Zelensky one, but not. I mean, it's so many things going on in the world.
Isn't Zelensky Jewish?
I don't know that for a fact.
There was a Ukrainian leader that is Jewish, and I've seen this meme, so I don't know if this is fact checked or not. There was like a Ukrainian leader.
That's why you feel like that's why Trump and
his
Elon,
grandparents fought against the Nazis.
Oh yeah, that Elon would take that.
First Jewish president of Ukraine.
Elon probably would take, particularly when you see how Elon and Trump were trying to push Germany back to the far right, and I guess the Conservative Party, and Trump took that. But the story that broke through, you know, as an artist, Trouble, you know, I would have conversation with other artists about like, how do you cut through the noise? How do you create art that cuts through the noise? Well, somebody created a fantastic piece of art.
Here's what I found.
Sorry. Siri just popped up because somebody's name.
Probably because my name. AI video of Trump kissing Elon's bare feet plays throughout the HUD office. Whoever did this, please, can you start doing interviews?
Long live the real king.
Can you play that video?
I am playing it right now.
It says, as Donald Trump and Elon Musk prepare to bring their next round of arbitrary cuts to the Department of Housing and Urban
I
Development,
can't even look at my screen.
it seems like at least one employee is making their displeasure known. On Monday, the first day of the Trump administration's return to office ban on remote work, employees at HUD were greeted by a feat of digital protest. It says their televisions were hijacked to play an AI-generated video of Trump making sweet, sloppy oral love to Elon Musk's bare feet. The words "Long live the real king" were embezzled over the video, likely reference to recent posts from Trump and the White House describing the president as king.
I bet you this is the only time Trump's going to be defeated.
You think he'll admit this defeat?
And it's wild because I guess they couldn't take the video down. Like they didn't know how to turn the video off. They didn't know how to
turn his TV off.
Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. They didn't know how to do that.
How ironic is that for Trump to have to bear one of his biggest critics at the Super Bowl halftime show?
Yes.
That ended with turn this TV off.
Yes. Yes.
Then to be ridiculed on television.
Yes.
That's crazy.
And so, again, it goes back to kind of what I was saying last week, this belief that Elon Musk is the real power that's happening, and that Trump is not. Trump is not the president, that although Trump did call himself the king. I love the idea of like these art. There was this other piece of art that was like, on one side, it said like follow Trump in America. And then if you turn to the left, this was in Brazil.
Yeah.
It showed like Trump's face was like a skull.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like bowed down, you know.
I pre'd one that had Elon as like a puppet master and Trump was a marionette puppet. That was in Mexico.
Absolutely. This obviously is because one of the things that Elon Musk did was he sent all of the federal workers an email basically saying that if you don't tell me 5 things that you've done over the past week by Friday evening, that you would get fired and lose your job. Oh. And so, you know, now the federal workers are fighting back.
Yeah.
Now, so, and it was interesting because it shows some of Trump's own appointees were pushing back on Elon Musk doing this. Elon Musk then came out and said, like, he was trolling, in a sense.
But the fact that you could even, like, where is...
Trolling via email?
Like,
yes.
And not only that, like, why bother these people?
Yeah,
like,
facts.
What is that? What point you're distracting federal workers, governmental workers from performing their duties in a time that's already mixed up?
Mm-hmm.
No one knows really what's happening. There's all these, you know, paid leave.
Oh, we know what's happening. People getting fired. I mean,
yeah. But like, you know, it's just the fact that you would even do that. What purpose does that serve?
I wouldn't expect him to be sensitive to that because I don't think he understands the feeling of job insecurity, especially at his billionaire status right now. He kind of thinks of it as like, oh, this is fun and games. He's probably like not in a position to empathize with the lives that he's playing with.
Yes.
In this position.
Elon Musk said this was basically a check to see if the employee had a pulse and was capable of replying to an email. This mess will get sorted out this week. A lot of people in for a rude awakening and strong dose of reality. They don't get it, but they will. So he called it because people were actually saying, like, does Doge even have the ability or the manpower to actually not only field all of these emails, but then read them and respond to them? Like, so if every single federal employee writes this email, does Doge then have the ability to go, who's reading them? Who's going to go through them? Who's going to decide whether or not this person did do their job? And so you had a lot of people, even those that got fired, were saying they said I was fired for performance and they had never received any type of performance evaluation.
Yeah.
So now there's a question of if these firings are even actually legal, according to one of this government oversight agency.
Is that their HR, the Human Resources Division?
It says this comes from the Office of Special Counsel, an independent agency that oversees the legal actions taken against federal workers. They're saying all of these mass firings of probationary employees are illegal. Oh, wow. According to one story, they fired a bunch of people at the IRS forgetting that it's tax season. And that now they were trying to find these employees again, but they don't have their email addresses. So then how is this going to work? Particularly if you're somebody that's looking for a return, like you get a tax return and you're looking for that return to do something with it. Miracle. What the hell is going on in Washington, D.C. right now? And is this something that we're going to see? Obviously, I can't believe that this is the first legal challenge. According to folks, people are suing Elon Musk directly over these firings and the things that he's doing. It complicates things when the White House says he has no official position, but yet he's openly saying on social media in writing that he's the person doing all of these things, that he's making this decision, that he's the, I guess, firer in chief, so you will.
Even Speaker of the House Johnson said that Elon was running things and had access to be in the belly of the beast. So yes, it is right to say that this is Elon's doing. The problem is a lot of times people think business folks are smarter than they are. They're like, oh, we want the government to run as a business.
Yes.
But the business that people are running you have to know what people's jobs are.
Yes.
You have to know what their culture is, what their responsibilities are. You do that on the front end. So then when you fire them on the back end, there is not any effects and afterways and shocks to the system.
Just to stop you for 1 second. It says so far, at least 200,000. Yes, that's why I said like 200,000 government workers have been fired or taking a buyout.
Correct. Whoa. And the thing is, no one knew what a lot of these workers do because, you don't want to sue the government, but also different agencies work to carry out the policies of the United States government in different locales. So when Elon first did the firing of, for instance, the USAID, there are people who were like, yeah, I'm in Russia, I'm in Kenya, what am I supposed to do? There are people who were like, I now have nobody to report to. How am I going to get the money to book a ticket to come home? How am I going to lock up what I'm doing? Where do I report to close out my office? Is this now government property, or do I just abandon the office? Do I just abandon the apartment? There was nobody there to report to. Another thing is they're using AI. When we're talking about how are they looking at these websites, how are they looking at these emails, how are they making determinations, they're using AI. Yeah. So if the programs are coded wrong, then the result is wrong. For instance, we had the HBCU land investment go away. You had money for people who were disabled went away. And why? Right. Because it said in transition. They thought it was about people who are trans. And then realize that when you are disabled, you have to transition from being in youth care to adult placement when you're going through medical situation, right? So they were looking for code words. And if you have these code words within your job description or what your grant was, that was being frozen. That's one of the reasons why Governor Josh Shapiro had to sue the Trump administration to get that $2 billion freed up, and now it's coming back
and he won,
to Pennsylvania, right? Because they do not know what they're doing. They just know who they want to harm. Right. And for them, the ends will justify the means, because if they can fire black people, then it doesn't matter how many accidentally white people they fired.
Yes.
If they can stop queer and trans people from getting money, it doesn't matter how many housing opportunities that they have destroyed.
Right.
If they can harm black and brown and immigrant people, it doesn't matter that they basically poisoned our land, our water, and we've basically stopped the government from effectively running because they know who they want to hurt. That's who they're going after. And hopefully by the end of it, the people who are, still left around will be able to continue back and fight. And so that's what's happening happening. It's like, chaos and confusion. It's like waking up every day. Like we're living in a soap opera.
Correct.
Like,
We really are.
we're living like in a soap opera. All of us are accidentally the main characters. We didn't know, show up.
Right.
And for this audition, but like we're here, we got casted and we're just trying to figure out what the next day is going to be.
And I think like initially, like we knew, I mean, obviously like Elon was helping Donald Trump. I didn't think that like once Trump became president, that now Elon would be taking such a
Prominent role.
Yeah, not only prominent role, but like there's a clip that you have. You want to play that clip where they're doing these dual interviews. So we saw Elon in the White House with Donald Trump, where Donald Trump is sitting down, Elon's standing over him, Elon's child, the muskrats.
The muskrats, man.
One of the muskrats is running around, and that seemed very weird. Again, I've never seen that.
Which
anything
JD
like
Vance?
that before.
He's probably laying down on the couch.
And then now we saw
Taking
Trump.
a nap.
We see Trump and Elon doing this dual interview.
Which really should be JD Vance if there's anybody going to be there.
Well, but again, if Trump's already on record as saying JD Vance isn't the future.
Right.
So
Right, yeah.
again, it's like, it's weird because
Decorum be damned, I guess, for having.
It seems like in this interview that Donald Trump is actually in the inferior position, not the superior position. Can you play that clip?
Yeah.
The ship of America must be strong. The ship of America cannot sink. If it sinks, we all sink with it.
John, Europe is what drives you.
Yes.
This is important. It says Texas.
So that was Trump trying to speak. And here's Sean Hannity basically like, nah, I really don't want to hear what you have to say.
Someone said, be quiet, Trump. The president is speaking. I didn't even know Sean Hannity was still on the air.
Oh, I mean, he's on the air specifically to, promote Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? And so again, when you look at this, okay, so right now, there's this movement. All right. I'll start with you, Miracle, and go around the table, right? To go after Elon's businesses, right? So they're saying like Tesla sales like worldwide are like dropping, right? One of the groups has called the Tesla the swastika.
It's a great name.
I mean, that is amazing.
What if they put swastikas on the hubcaps?
I mean, again, and it says goes from 0 to 1939 in 3 seconds, right? So again, it's like, yo, this is kind of, so like, how do we, Miracle, like if Elon Musk doesn't have any position, like he can't be like unelected in a sense, right? He's the richest man in the world. He has this social media platform he's using to just pump out all types of right wing. Like, how do we fight back? Is it going after his businesses? What are we to do, Miracle?
Yeah, I think you're going to see that, and I think it's probably going to be Vance who's going to lead that. But you're going to see people start to sue Elon, and then once
wait, you think JD Vance is going to lead the fight against Elon?
I do. I think at some point he's going to be like, you know what, this man is weaponizing, taking my place and my position.
Oh yeah,
right.
I feel like JD Vance is. I feel like, I don't know. He doesn't come across as somebody who's like. He has like mad beta energy to me. I don't know. I don't know. This man won't even stand up for his own wife and children, Miracle.
But think about it. If he wants to be president or he wants the power, you're going to have to, especially after the Germany elections, the far right party did not win.
Right.
The far left party actually did.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so now their whole like the possibility that Europe is going to pass a lot of restrictions on Elon Musk, right?
Okay. Yep.
And you can't be like carrying out multiple military infractions and then also trying to fight your allies for over like AI and access to the internet. You're going to have to let somebody go. And what you can do is that if you're a government agency, you sue somebody.
Right.
Then the government then owns those businesses. And the government is now the richest individual in the world. And Elon, who was
that
like,
is called fascism.
and but also Elon, who was like, sometimes I tell the truth and sometimes I don't know.
Right.
It has set himself up to have a lot of lawsuits, and and allegedly to some of these employment attorneys has been violating the law and committing crimes in these firings and access to this data. So how they store the data, how they manage the data, all this type of stuff is setting him up. So you can probably within the next year or two, he is probably going to become under investigation. There's going to,
but who would do that investigation? Obviously not the Department of Justice, because the Department of Justice is run by all of these Trump Musk sycophants. So who is going to investigate? The FBI now is, Cash Patel.
But Cash Patel he sent that email. He and Tulsi Gabbard, whatever her name is.
Yeah.
Is it Gabbard? Whatever.
I think it's Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard, yeah.
Sent the email to their employees and said, do not comply with Elon's and Doge's email about talking about what you did last week. We are the people who you report to. We are your bosses. Do not obey in advance. The thing we've been telling people for a minute.
Right.
They basically on wax is like, don't do this.
Right.
So you could see Cash be like, you know what, you are, enemy, foreign and domestic. I do think that like you're going to start seeing that language when people keep calling Elon Musk, saying he's engineering a coup, because that's a violation of the Constitution that includes, unaliving as a consequence. But if he is engaging in conversations with other nations, and he is representing himself out to be a member of the United States government, which apparently he is not, then he has.
So does he have security clearance or what?
Yes.
He
got security clearance.
Yes. Not only that, they said like his security team was like given like marshal status.
Really?
Yes.
Without proper background checks and vetting.
Does he have security? The nigga's in the Oval Office with his kid. Like, yes.
Well, so there's a protocol in order to receive.
He went around. He didn't do the protocol. That's the thing people are talking about.
You think if Elon Musk, he walked into the Social Security office to U.S. Aid and with his 19 and 20-year-old team of like racist young white dudes and has taken over. So like all that security, I don't know, does that even matter anymore? Like we're in this whole new thing where it's like, people were saying, oh, well, he ran PayPal and he had all of these people's things in PayPal, but he was literally fired from PayPal. To me, the only thing that could happen is him and Trump having some type of falling out. And that's the only thing I could really see.
And I think it is going to happen because we've all met those people who have been like, who's never been told no.
Yes.
And the minute they start to get told no, or the minute they start to get pushed out, how they react. I don't think I think Elon
have like a temper tantrum,
has played his hand a little too quickly. Doesn't understand the culture of America. We love an underdog story. But we also love to make people fall.
Right.
And we also like to watch, the car wreck and the crash. And it's like,
well, particularly if like Trump and Elon are like positioning themselves as kings. Like, I think the thing that is so like particularly like visceral a reaction to Elon is he was not elected.
Correct.
And he is somebody that is just there doing whatever. And it's like you said, here's this billionaire, here's the richest man in the world. And he's saying to like, a worker that's just trying to get by every day, like, send me an email telling me what you did. And it's very much like,
this is what I will say, because I know people who voted for Trump. And one of my Facebook friends, he wrote in this post and he was like, I don't care what Elon is doing, because when I was impacted by the hurricane, FEMA did not help me. FEMA did not give us food, did not help us with shelter, basically did not show up for my community. And people forget, people in Georgia and North Carolina who went through the hurricane still do not have running water, still are living in homes without roofs and all type of stuff, right?
Yes.
Those people are holding out hope that something soon is going to happen for them. Elon is not thinking about them.
No, he's not.
And on top of not thinking about them, he's firing people, Republicans,
Yes,
who voted for Trump because
Yes.
he was not smart enough to figure out which people in the federal government supported Trump
Yeah.
and which ones did not, and what was the pretext in order for it not to happen. So now here we are.
Here we are.
Waiting for an actual cue and actual violence to happen, and it's just going to be really
That's
messed up.
crazy.
Here's
I
a
did want to
breaking
share
news.
this. What's breaking news?
21 civil service employees are resigning from DOJ, because they refuse to dismantle critical public services.
I mean, again, there was a and this is Dream for America on Instagram. They shared this quote. It says, "Believing a small group of right-wing billionaires are suddenly working tirelessly for the benefit of the working class requires a spectacular level of stupidity." It's also reported, I'm coming to you, Trouble, that Trump has fired more people in this first month than deported. Like almost twice as many people have been fired. So it is weird to start you're starting your new, not with like, and again, it's not like we're in this economic boom, right? You're starting off, you firing all these people. Inflation is at an all-time high. Food is at an all-time high. Remember when Joe Biden got elected and everybody was like mad at the gas prices? They're still high.
Yep.
Like none of these economic things that Trump said is gonna go. I mean, supposedly
It got higher.
Yeah, I would say, petrol's higher since Trump.
Yeah.
Right. So where do you think? Where should we go?
Man,
Do we need to chill?
we need to chill. There's a great speaker at this table who said that we should lean in instead of punk out.
Oh, come on now. Come on.
And
Come on.
like now is the time. It's like it's always a time for people to get educated on American history, how things like this have played out in the past,
Yes.
and where they're headed.
Yes.
It's always a good time to research the politics of those in office currently.
Yes.
And I feel like now is more of a time than ever to, especially if we have any Trump supporters watching this who might be a little bit regretful of their decision to vote for Trump. I hope that you are, and I hope that you're taking this time to kind of reflect on what patriotism actually means to you and how you can actually build a great America. What does that mean? How do you visualize an America that is actually great? And in what ways does Trump not align with your personal moral standings? And how can you kind of, pivot in a way that makes it so that the things he's trying to put in place don't really have the foundation to stand on? You know
Yes.
what I'm saying?
Exactly. I think leaning in, and it's interesting because, when I talked about like leaning in or punking out, most of what you see or who you see punking out are these huge corporations, right? We talked about Target punking out, and Target is super suffering now, at least in the short term, like, because black people is like, nah, we standing firm, we ain't going to Target, and kind of even targeting, no pun intended, companies that have rolled back their DI. One such place, ironically, is MSNBC. And MSNBC canceled Joy Reid's show. Joy Reid has been, a black woman who's been a champion of progressive values. She's somebody who has spoken very critically of Donald Trump to the point where Donald Trump actually commented, like, finally, like, I'm happy to see you go. There also was I guess this is a Arab brother, Amin, was fired. They basically were saying like three of their most progressive to the left host of shows, MSNBC decided to get rid of. And now folks are talking about turn your TV off, right? Boycotting MSNBC, not watching, demanding Joy Reid be brought back on.
I got a new acronym for MSNBC.
What's that?
Must silence niggas being critical.
I fuck with that. That was hard. I fuck with
I had to think about it real quick.
Could that be the title of this episode?
Yeah.
Must silence niggas being critical.
I'm good on my feet, man. I'm good at
Miracle, right? Should we like boycott MSNBC? Is this just how business goes. He was on for 10 years. What should the response be? Because one of the things that came up were that these folks were also critical of Israel's position in the Middle East was another possible reason. You know, Mehdi had a show on there. He was let go. What do we do now?
It's funny how everybody wants to, now people want to boycott. Like, now boycott's okay. But speaking of Friday the 28th, everybody's boycotting. Target, MSNBC.
Wait. Okay, this
Friday
coming
the
up.
28th.
Friday, February 28th.
Yeah.
So what is this? So like a black people don't go out day? I missed it.
This is boycott as much as you can on Friday the 28th.
Don't spend any cash on the 28th.
Don't spend anything at any corporations. No Amazon, no Target.
Got you.
You know, no Walmart, which we, you know, shout out to John Crawford, where maybe we always say his name.
Absolutely.
We boycott, you know, been boycotting that for like.
John Crawford was a black man that was shot and killed in Walmart, maybe about 10 years ago, 10, 11 years ago.
And so I think Al Sharpton and some other groups were like, you know, you got to boycott your leaders to make them do stuff.
Oh yeah.
So basically now we're doing a because they did the buy-in.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now we're doing like the boycott on Friday 28th, and so all the progressive movements are aligning to do this boycott. But I do think it what's happening to Joy, I think showcases there has been a lot of people who have been harmed in the past, and we kind of just let it happen. And now it's the people who have what we would deem as positions of power, access to power, name brand and recognition who are now being harmed.
Right.
And now it's like, oh wait, this where is this going to end, and who is going to be the next victim? So I do think that the love and outpouring of for Joy is amazing.
Yeah.
I wish Melissa Harris Perry would have gotten it when her show was canceled.
Yeah.
There have been a lot of there's been a lot of black talent.
Was it like Tiffany Cross was somebody that got a show canceled? Yeah.
You know, pulled off the air, and it is again DEI bias. I think we're starting to see a lot of the corporations who did black faces in high places just because they wanted a green dollar, and now like, oh, my green dollar may not be there, so let me like whiten up the place a little bit. That's what we're starting to see, and it's not going to work. And Target, their sales are plummeting.
Right.
You saw Starbucks, they're getting rid of like 10, 15 drinks next week.
Oh, wow.
Their sales are plummeting. All of these people are saying, look, we want lives that are livable. We want a better future. And you as a corporation, you're either going to help move this better future along, or we will move past you.
Yes.
And that's the point we got right now. I think MSNBC is not going to be the progressive space in like 2 or 3 years. You're starting to see, you know, people on Twitch, people on independent media. True. You got the Black Star Network. You got Free Speech TV. With us and Democracy Now! You see a lot of people flocking to actual left-wing, actual progressive platforms for this very reason. I can't say that it was because of her stance on the Israel-Palestine situation that got her fired, but I can't say everyone that was fired and demoted from MSNBC had the same, as she said, you know, we as Americans have the right to say we do not want our tax dollars going to kill children abroad. We have the right to say that.
Right.
Everyone who said that for some reason for MSNBC has been demoted, terminated, or, you know, reduced to a weekend role. And the people who are coming on haven't been as, you know, active in their advocacy to stop violence wherever it is. And so I do think we need more leftist spaces. I think we need more progressive spaces. And I'm interested to see what that next iteration looks like. But I also want people to understand, like she said, it's always worth it to fight. It's always worth it to speak out. And it's always worth it to speak up against injustice. And the way to stop injustice and to build your coalition is to keep speaking out against things.
Right. I agree. Any other comments about the boycotts?
I mean, I love the idea of it. I think this is one of the times where everybody's having conversations about capital and finance.
Right.
That this is
it because we can't pay rent and get eggs? Is it?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that has a lot to do with it. You know what I mean? I think that this is a great strategy because, you know, corporations tend not to care about people's politics.
100%.
They don't care about your politics.
No.
They don't care about your identity.
They don't.
They care about their bottom line
100%.
and being in the red or the black. That's all the.
Yeah, it's like they never cared about black people or queer people, or they just wanted to make money.
For any of you that actually fell for that ruse of, like Miracle said, the black faces in high places or anything of the sort, where you thought that this was substantive change, that this was indicative of like a changing of the guard, that these multi-billion-dollar corporations actually had a vested interest in producing change for the black community. Shame on you, because I mean, what world do you live in to think that some Instagram squares was really going to change the world? So all this performative activism and all this performative things that are just like, all this performative activism is falling by the wayside, and you're seeing America return back to what it always has been. A capitalist giant that is invested in protecting its own self despite the social and cultural decline of its citizens.
Yeah. It's interesting because at the same time, we're watching like these progressive folks like a Joy Reid like lose their jobs. We're seeing these right-wing pundits put into positions where they have real power. So we see Pete Hegseth at the department, heading the Department of Defense, right? And being somebody who has, this Farouk is going along. I don't know what is that? This your Tony Yayo moment. So you had Pete Hegseth, and one of the things we talk about DI, right? Joy Reid got fired, and then in the case of like reverse DI.
Reverse DEI.
Right? and again,
does reverse DEI prove the existence of reverse racism?
I don't know, because like
because can you have one without the other?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, but if you have a man who is a 4-star general, as the head of the Joint Chiefs and Staff, what's the man? Charles Brown Jr., or they call him CQ Brown. And you replace him with a little known retired 3-star general.
Yeah.
So you're actually taking somebody who has a higher rank, who has more experience, who's like more known, and you fire him and you put somebody else in who happens to be white. That has less experience, less knowledge, less rank. I mean, isn't this DI in reverse?
Yeah, I mean, I was watching this happen on CNN while they announced that he was fired.
Yes.
And the befuddlement of all the military experts that they had on there was astounding to see, because they were all like, yo, we don't know why this is happening. Like, why would you take down a wartime general, a 4-star wartime general who has combat hours, who has combat experience, who has led fleets, who has been present for all the conflicts that America has been in so far? Why would you remove him from office as America is gearing up for more war? It didn't make any sense. So, it was
well, it makes sense, Farouk.
Of course it makes sense to certain people.
If you want somebody that is 100% like
American,
following what Donald Trump says, because not only did they fire him, they fired like all of these military lawyers. And then, Hegseth actually went on the news and said, the reason that we're doing this is like, so there's no roadblocks to what we want to do.
Yeah, they're going after the JAGs. They were going after all the people that are in charge of these tribunals, all the high-ranking military officials, the officers that have stars and status to their names. So it's so fascinating to me. Like,
it's wild too, because it's like
that's the shit that's actually scary.
But
like that's the shit that makes me like, oh, this is not good.
Well, I mean, again, and particularly when you have Trump talking about like Fort Knox, we're going to open Fort Knox to see if there's gold, and I bet all the gold is gone, and people are like, Trump is definitely going to steal all the gold.
He's really a super villain,
and then claim there's no gold there.
He really is like cartoonishly.
But they're doing it in your face.
Absolutely.
For these black MAGAs again. Like Black MAGA. Here is a 4-star black general, veteran in the army. he gets like, what are y'all saying?
Well, who's the one?
Wait, hold on. Meanwhile, you got Kodak and Boosie at the White House. Remember when it was when they were mad that Common was at the White House? How dare you let a gangster rapper like Common in the White House? And you got Kodak Black and Boosie for the Black History celebration. This shit is crazy.
Who was the one officer, the whack nigga, the sheriff with the cowboy hat?
Oh, yeah.
And Trump dubbed him when he tried to give him a hug? Oh. Did you see that?
That was the guy that basically his fame comes from some video where he's on the plane with a shirt that says, like, I'd rather vote for the felon than Joe Biden.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, this is like, niggas that want to make themselves coonish and tap dance on Trump's behalf, you get to the White House. But again, you don't get real power.
No.
There's no black people being put in any positions of real power. In fact, those black people are getting fired.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that's the real. They also said that in this, to Miracle's point, in this federal purge, they've already fired 6,000 veterans.
I put up a video about this on Instagram right after that happened.
Yes.
That talked about this thing specifically, like all you black MAGA people that were invited to the White House or have, a standing relationship with Trump, specifically those in the hip hop community. And Jasiri said his best, like trick, like you let this nigga come through and hoe you in your city.
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? You didn't make him walk back any discouraging things he said about Detroit. I thought you loved Detroit, nigga. No. Like, you gonna let this nigga come through and shit on your city? Like one of the greatest cities in America, one of the greatest black populations in America. You gonna let this nigga come through and just, come to your yard on some big man thing and sun you? And then Kodak, right? I know you had said something over the summer about Trump, making his comments about immigrants and Haitians.
I thought Kodak was standing on business with Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
Right, yeah, I mean, who knows?
Not Kodak, but Boosie.
Boosie, yeah. But when you got to the White House, did you have a conversation with Trump around the immigration comments and the things he said about Haitians?
Because here is Kodak, a Haitian
immigrant.
And basically at the same time, Trump just took all the protections away from Haitian immigrants and wants to deport them.
Let me keep cooking. Come on, brother. So all these other rappers that have this relationship with Trump, did you ask for an executive order of the signing of the Rap Act?
No.
But he used the Rap Act. He used that to protect himself from his January 6th speech.
He did do that.
To indemnify himself from prosecution.
Come on.
So again, you're missing these opportunities. If you're going to be a black MAGA person, that's fine. That's your prerogative. I can't say I fuck with it, but you're entitled to that shit. But ask for some accountability. Hold your candidate, hold your electee, hold your democratic process in the reverence that you have, and request some accountability from this man. You're clearly in a position to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Right? Even if he's not going to listen to you, you could at least say, I tried. Right. And then, but you don't want to do that because you know what the blowback's going to look like.
Right.
Pause. Like, that nigga is not going to listen to you.
No.
But I'm saying, so like you're allowing yourself, like you don't have
real power. You have proximity, but not real power.
Yeah, and you ain't getting no bag to go to the White House. So you got a couple pictures that you can post on the gram. Okay, that's cool. But it's a whole bunch of other niggas that take White House tours every day. They got the same fucking pictures, my nigga. So what are we talking about?
Right. Well, I mean, I think that's the whole thing around this whole DI thing is like, and we talked about it in the early days when all of these cabinet positions were being named. I mean, you just had another right wing, commentator, podcaster that's now the deputy director of the FBI.
Maybe we can get positions. What would they put me in charge of?
I mean, you are a MAGA Muslim.
Oh shit.
I want a high ranking.
If you bring your red hat back, maybe. But again, let
me borrow yours.
But look, this is the problem. You're black. Ain't no position. This is an Italian. This is Dan, a right wing podcaster, Dan Bongino, has been selected to serve as deputy and second in command to recently confirmed FBI director Kash Patel. It said that the
podcaster.
Yes.
Yeah, man.
He's a right wing podcaster.
What does he do outside of podcasting?
At one point in time,
he yells at birds in the sky.
At one point in time, he was a police officer. He was a special agent. You know what I'm saying? But normally that deputy director is somebody that worked in the FBI and has FBI experience. This is a dude that was a defender of January 6 rioters, promoted QAnon theories. This is somebody that's basically like a crazy person. You know what I'm saying? And so again, he's somebody that's has called for the arrest of people that are critical of Donald Trump. You know what I'm saying? And again, so now they're saying the FBI agents are yo, what is actually going on?
So This is why he is so against DEI, so he can make hires like this and not be challenged for it.
100%.
I see.
Like things that are actually DI hires. Like he's putting people in place, right? He doesn't, because like you said, if you have diversity, equity, inclusion, it's almost like in the NFL, they had what's called the Rooney Rule, where basically the NFL said you have to interview at least one black coach. You have to at least give them an interview, right? And it's like, now at least I'm in the process, and you have to justify why you hired this person. If you don't have DI, you don't have to justify, I'm putting this person here because I want to. And the people that he's putting there, the only qualifications that they have are they love Trump. Like they're Trump, excuse my expression, like dick and ball guzzlers. Like that's what they are.
Pretty much.
And that's what gives you a job at this, Cash Patel, all of these individuals, right?
So that makes me wonder.
Yes.
I fucking love Oreos.
Okay. Okay.
Should Nabisco appoint me to a position? Because I've been for years, I've been saying that I just want just the stuff. Pause. No cookie.
Just the white stuff?
Pause. Just the no cookie. Right? Just give me like, you know what I mean? Like almost, remember how like the ready to bake cookies used to come in like the cylindrical thing? You just cut it open and boom, 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 put them on the cookie sheet. Yeah. Just give me that. So because I love Oreos, that could be my only qualification for an appointment in Nabisco.
I mean, basically.
Would you want to work at somewhere like Nabisco? Aren't they under fire?
Yeah, you probably get fired for them too. You know what I'm saying?
But if I love Trump, I can get a job at the White House? Maybe DOJ? DOD?
I don't think you want that.
Homesec?
Yeah, I don't think you actually want
Could you imagine me a homesec miracle? Everybody getting deported.
Yes.
Everybody getting deported.
Yes.
Nick getting deported.
Well,
He's the first one to go.
He'd be like, did you listen to my last album? They'd be like, wait, what? He was like, gone.
You're gone.
Now.
Where's your family come from? They gone too.
No, I think that, I think it was Pete Hegseth again who said they wanted to pick people who they knew would not be an obstacle to anything Trump wanted to do. Pete, by his own admission, said that when he was in the military service, he did things that he should be in prison for.
Yeah, war crimes. That's what they're called. They're called war crimes. He said we didn't need the Geneva Convention.
He himself has admitted to committing human rights atrocities. And so when you have people like that in positions of power who literally are drunk on power and don't believe that people who are not Christians should have the same rights that they do, they don't really care about who's in these positions. They care about who is going to say yes or turn a blind eye.
Sounds like the Crusades.
And to be on trend, this past year has really shown us that a lot of people are willing to turn a blind eye to violence and atrocity as long as they are able to personally benefit and keep whatever positionality they think they've earned to themselves, right? So they're not going to speak out. They're not going to sit there and be like, hey, the laws that we have on the book says you can't do that.
Right.
Because Pete and now Elon may fire me. Right. And we built up, and I said this before, this past year was not just about the genocide that was happening, but it was also about conditioning people to just accept violence and state violence as just being normal, so that now we see it on a mass scale. We're like, it's not that bad. It's like, it's okay. They broke a rule. They broke the Leahy law. They broke this. Like, it doesn't matter that this general is unqualified. Doesn't matter that, like, this person does not have the experience to run HUD, but they're black. Yeah. Like, doesn't matter. No. And that's where we are now. So now we have to fight back.
It only matters when it happens to them, right? So now these people who voted for Trump and are getting fired are now coming out and either begging for their jobs back, or now they're part of the resistance again. And that's that thing. It's like that violence. You're right. But like you said, like the violence is like, oh, that's not me. Those aren't my people. Those aren't people that I'm related to. So like you said, when you talk to people who lost loved ones overseas, it's a pain in it. It's different because there's people that they know and love. And until it's wild, it's sad that we're in this position where it doesn't matter to these people until it happens to them. And they're like, oh, I didn't think, these veterans didn't know they were DI hires. Oh, we're DI? Is that why we're getting, oh, yes, you too. Now all of a sudden. But what is remarkable, okay, because Miracle, we now have our second high profile MAGA person doing a Nazi salute.
It's incorrect terminology.
In 4K. What terminology am I?
It's a stiff arm salute or a Roman salute.
Wait. Let's play. Can you play the clip of Steve Bannon at
Third Reich
CPAC
Bannon
doing a Nazi salute on stage?
The only way that they win is we retreat. And we're not going to retreat. We're not going to surrender. We're not going to quit. Fight, fight, fight. Amen.
Okay, so
Jesus Christ, man.
And there was like 2 other people who did it at that CPAC conference.
Yeah, there was just a CEO who was
a sea of Nazi salutes. Yeah, there was a CEO in Idaho.
Yeah,
who was caught on video doing a Nazi salute, and he was fired.
He'll be fine.
Or he resigned after giving a Nazi salute.
The fact that he's probably gonna get a golden parachute. He'll be good.
But you mentioned this. This is, a right wing. I guess she's a commentator. She's a right wing Jewish commentator. I think she's actually from Pittsburgh or based in Pittsburgh. Named Barry Weiss, and Barry Weiss wrote a book called "How to Fight Anti-Semitism," and then Barry Weiss tweeted, "These stiff arm salutes are not expressions of sincere Nazism, but of an oppositional culture that, like a rebel band, keeps wearing fatigues after victory, has failed to realize it's no longer in the opposition." What does that even mean?
Yeah, facts.
I just want to point out that the leading organizations and thought commentators on anti-Semitism have now, on multiple occasions, defended actual Nazi salutes. One, it was autism, and now it's a stiff arm salute. They are literally rebranding white supremacy and Nazism solely because these individuals hate Palestinians, hate Muslims, and hate non-Israeli Arabs.
Right.
This is what, it makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah.
Someone's gonna get on stage. I said this yesterday on Instagram. Someone's going to get on stage and yell Hitler the way Kendrick Lamar screamed mustard at the Super Bowl.
Oh, wow. But again, would that mean anything?
No, it wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like, they're going to, soon this is going to be labeled as like Tourette syndrome or something.
Because
my friend was like, when we wanted to be rebels, we painted our nails and did like underground rock bands. Like, right. When you
was goth or something.
When you wanted to rage against the machine, you were just doing like undercover concerts and like going to marches. You weren't like saying you needed to go kill a whole race of people.
It's crazy.
And loving Hitler. That was never the counterculture thing. It was always the counterculture thing to be leftist. But I was talking to, Nicole, and she was like, I don't understand how we have now said that Elon and co are like rebels without a cause when they are the majority. They have won the presidency, the White House. They are
Congress
there.
And Senate.
They have a trifecta.
Yes.
Who were they rebelling against?
Common regular workers who just want to pay their rent and buy some food every day. Yeah.
Like, it makes
maybe go to a movie on the weekend.
They're cosplaying as being like these rebels for a cause, but they are the people. They are the problem.
But it also, again, it exposes, particularly when so many of these like prominent organizations that were speaking up against anti-Semitism, particularly when, it seemed like we always seen you really, really historically go directly after like black and brown people. And it's like, here are 2 white men consecutively doing Nazi salutes, angry, right? Angry with their full chests. And like, that is dismissed. And so again, it's like, oh, okay, so you're not really, he's rich or he's wealthy or he's in power or he's white. That's okay. It's okay for them to do that. another story came over where it says, Elon Musk accused 18 U.S. Islamic, Arab, and Palestinian charities of being terrorist organizations. Basically, he tweeted that these organizations were getting all of this USAID money, how and kind of conflicting terrorists with these were just Muslim organizations.
That means we're up next.
Well, I mean, we don't get any federal funding.
No.
But if you would like to see us speak more, you can go to onehood.org and you can make some donations. We have been getting donations from folks that have been watching. We have been getting a lot of love. So shout out to those folks. But yeah, I mean, again, we don't have Islam in the title of our name, but the idea that just because you're a charity with Islam in your name equates you with a terrorist organization. But again, this is somebody who did a Nazi salute. This is somebody whose grandparents are Nazis. This is somebody who's went to Germany and said, yo, don't be embarrassed that your grandparents were Nazis. I mean, again, but he holds weight now. And it is crazy. Interesting. Again, it's, and we could, have that conversation, but, Muslims, y'all, so there's a lot of y'all that wanted this. And here we are. Here we are. So last thing, Miracle, because I saw on Miracle,
what'd you say?
I saw on Miracle, there were two other great not great, but stories that came out that made me think of you, Miracle, as soon as I saw the headlines of these stories. One was an op-ed from Mark Cuban that said Democrats are too inept to exploit Donald Trump's chaos. And another one where it was talking about Democratic funders are turning off the flow of money because they feel like the Democratic Party are not doing enough. This time, I mean, here's 80-year-old Bernie Sanders doing some tour, and it's like, no disrespect, like, love Bernie Sanders, you're out there doing it, but is that all we got? All we got is this 80-year-old senator he's the only one willing to stand up? I mean, where are the rest of y'all? Miracle, what are the Democrats doing, and will they ever get it together? Kamala Harris did...
What did she do?
On Miracle's face. Kamala Harris went to the NAACP Image Awards. She received an award. She made an impassioned speech. There was also another article that I saw that, strangely, we have not heard almost nothing from former President Obama, former President Bill Clinton, former President George W. Bush. We've heard almost nothing from them about maybe the rule of law as a president and what should we doing right now. So as people that are fighting this, should we abandon the Democratic Party at that point? I mean, is it like they abandon us, so we got to match energy? Should we be trying to build something else? What are we doing now? What should we be doing?
Realizing that these politicians are not our friends and they are not fighting for us.
Yes.
The fact that that man got up there, Hakeem Jeffries, and said, it's their government. What leverage do we have?
Yes.
As if you can't just every day introduce bills. After, as if you can't do a filibuster. Right. As if you can't try and fight. As if you can't go into your communities and do town halls.
Real quick, because remember when Obama came into office in 2008?
And Mitch McConnell.
They had the Senate, they had the House, and the presidency. And Mitch McConnell said he would do whatever it took to block anything that Obama tried to do. Ironically, he just retired. You know what I'm saying? I mean, before he falls down the steps and kills himself again. But,
correct.
Right.
And there's been nothing.
Right.
We even had our own senator support and vote for these individuals who are taking away our civil liberties, right? Yes. And so there is a way to fight back. I think that Mark Cuban is right. Somebody said, are Democrats not fighting back because they're exhausted or because they want to be complicit? Ooh. Right? Ooh, I do.
This was a quote. It's funny because it says one major Democratic donor, and I want to believe that this was Miracle. I know she's not a major Democratic donor, but it says, this is a quote. I'll be blunt here. The Democratic Party is fucking terrible. Plain and simple. In fact, it doesn't get much worse.
I know a lot of people make jokes about the Palestinian organizing. I do, but I was talking to other folks in the disability community, the queer community, and the Muslim community, and they were talking about like how Democrats would not talk to them this last election cycle. Right. They would not sit down and discuss ad strategy.
Yes.
They would not sit down and discuss issues for platforms.
Yes.
Like they were just not there, and they would pretend not to respond to emails, answer phone calls. So I think the Democratic Party really does not want to fight. And this is one of the things I've said is obeying in advance shows people where your policies and allegiance lies.
Yes.
No one was required to not do diversity, equity, and inclusion. No one was required to fire black and brown
Wasn't
folks.
the law.
That's not the law. That was not the argument, right? Who's out? Costco, the only person out here who wants to defend their diversity.
Shout out to us for supporting and getting us stuff from Costco for many years. Shout out.
Right.
I think that was Farouk's call. Shout out to Farouk.
But when you think about that, it's just like, do y'all want to fight for us? Do you believe that we have determination over our bodies or no? Do you believe we should have First Amendment and free speech rights or no? What is at your core beliefs? And what we're seeing right now is that so many people in the Democrats are just like, we kind of didn't want to do that. We didn't want y'all here, so we're not fighting for y'all.
I'm gonna come to you, Trouble, but I know exactly why the Democrats did not speak directly to the disabled, queer, trans, and Palestinian community. And I want to talk directly to these communities. This is the reason. Y'all don't have barbershops. I mean, see, you have to get a barbershop in order for the Democrats
or
to come speak to
a
you.
barbecue place.
Yeah.
If your community doesn't have a barbershop, where do they know to go? I don't know. Trouble.
So I have something directed at Obama specifically.
Okay, come on.
I feel like Obama's starting to look like a bitch for real.
Come on, Barry.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
He sat there in Kamala's campaign trail and criticized black men with his whole chest.
Whole chest.
Come on,
not
bro.
showing up for
Called us
Kamala.
punks.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But now Trump is in the office doing all this bullshit, and where is he at?
Where is he at?
Quiet as fuck.
Quiet.
Not saying shit with his chest.
And the last time we seen him and Trump, they was shucking and
was buddy
jiving.
buddy,
They
yeah.
was laughing and joking with one another.
Facts.
You're absolutely right. I did want to send one more quote. I'll come to you, Farouk. It says, a second donor was equally as pointed. Quote, they want us to spend money, and for what? For no message, no organization, no forward thinking. The thing that's clear to a lot of us is that the party never really learned its lesson in 2016. They worked off the same playbook and the same ineffective strategies, and to what end?
I mean, the fact that you're still expecting the Democrats to show you something. I just like, have you been paying attention?
Yes,
like,
yes.
I mean, I guess like, you know, you're rocking with your team, like, but how's it feel to be on a sinking ship?
It's like Sleepy Joe put the whole party to sleep.
Yeah.
It's like
They're literally the band playing on the Titanic.
Oh shit.
That's what they all are. Yeah.
that's a great analogy.
I think the problem with the Democratic Party, in all honesty, is whatever we can say about what Terra 47 is doing right now.
Mm-hmm. I love
We
that.
saw Republicans engage in democracy for every single position on their bench, right? We saw the presidential debates.
Yep.
We saw, each state go through their debates and their voting processes.
Could you say that all over again just so people could hear it? Because
Republicans have engaged in more direct democracy exercises than Democrats had, right? When it was up to re-election, all of a sudden we woke up and state parties said, oh, Biden's the nominee. We had this vote on Saturday. We're not entertaining a competitive election process. Whether you like Trump or not, you saw Trump on that stage. He took out Tulsi.
Yep.
He took out DeSantis. He took out Tim Scott. He took out, whoever was
Vivek
there.
and-
All these people. Yep. He went from state to state and campaigned in a robust, competitive primary process. And I know I was never a Bernie bro. I loved Elizabeth Warren. I was a Warren Knight. I wanted to be her and Castro, as the ticket, right? Mm-hmm. When Bernie was winning, the DNC said, oh, we cannot have the socialists as our ticket. And they went through and they restructured so Bernie could not win, right?
Yes.
And I think they could have said Bernie does not identify as a Democrat, and you have to be a Democrat to win the Democrat ticket.
Right.
That would have been fine, but that messaging was never there.
Right.
Right. They never came back and did that messaging. They never came back and said, if you're a Democrat, you have to be a Democrat your whole entire term, and you have to adopt this campaign platform. So what we saw was Democrats win. And then in North Carolina, Democrats became Republicans. They literally switched, their party, and the Democrat Party did nothing about that. We saw here in Pittsburgh where people were like, oh, you don't have to endorse, Summer Lee. You don't have to endorse Aaron McClellan because they're divisive. But then they told other people, well, if you don't endorse the Democratic slate, you can't be a part of the Democratic Party. So we have seen through our own very eyes the fact that Democrats do not uphold democracy, and then we want to be upset that people are like turned off by our brand of democracy when all we can say is, well, if you vote for Republicans, it's going to be harder for you, and not if you vote for Democrats, your life will improve. And that is the problem. I do think there is messaging that Democrats can do. I do honestly believe that right now it is the Democratic Party that is fighting to improve people's lives, but they pick and choose what lives they want to fight for, and they give people crumbs. And I said, and I was actually had a conversation, and I was like, Democrats' whole strategy is to have Republicans do effed up stuff so that they can come out and give people's crumbs while they sit at the master's table with the feast.
Wow.
And until we have Democrats who are willing to say that everybody deserves to be at the table, everybody deserves to be at the feast, we are still going to be in this battle in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years, and 5 years. And I think that's why right now you see such an attack on the progressive movement, because the progressive movement is actually the movement that wins.
Yes.
But Democrats do not want. And again, we saw even in Philly when Helen Gim was running.
Yes.
At all the machines that we're going to throw so many candidates and everybody to say anyone but Helen, because we do not want this progressive movement to win.
Correct.
But had she won, we probably wouldn't be in this situation. We would probably have a Democratic White House right now. But
I mean, you're right. But speaking of Philly, as we close, I know we're way over time, but some black excellence. A lot of people looked at the Philadelphia Eagles winning the Super Bowl as black excellence because you had quarterback Jalen Hurts and his whole piece, even up to the point of having like a black woman agent. And a lot of people also felt like his statements about Trump coming to the White House, like he really didn't, coming to the Super Bowl, he really didn't care. But so now supposedly the Philadelphia Eagles are not going to the White House. So shout out to, can we get some claps, brother? Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles, and basically saying, it's funny. Somebody was like, this is a social media user said, Eagles won't visit the White House. Okay, cool. Pull all their funding, every dime. It's like, do you know how business works?
Yeah. Okay. Like they're not funded by
They're not funded by the government. What are you talking about? Oh, now you want to boycott, right? You know what I mean? When we boycott is bad, but now you want to boycott the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? And again, Trump openly rooted against them. Why would they want to go to kick it to, come on, man, get out of here.
no participation trophies for the Super Bowl champions,
Absolutely. Absolutely. With that being said, to make you even more afraid,
Our actual white pages.
our actual white pages, Cedric J. Robinson, Black Marxism and the Making of the Black Radical Tradition. This work is about our people struggle, the historical black struggle. Angela Davis says Cedric Robinson's brilliant analysis revealed new ways of thinking and acting. A towering achievement. There's simply nothing like it in the history of black radical thought that came from Cornell West. So Cedric J. Robinson, Black Marxism, the Making of the Black Radical Tradition. Yeah, I right now, I think that we really have no choice for like that tradition to come back in the face of what we're seeing and what we're watching. Anything coming up?
We have things coming up. I will say if you are a Pittsburgh Allegheny County voter,
Yes.
pay attention to One Hood Power. RC4
Absolutely.
has some really cool announcements happening this week and next. So, you know, keep that in mind. We just had, you know, amazing, you know, artivist showcase.
Yes.
It was like really, really cool.
It was really cool.
So
The
we have
Clay
some
showcase out to Marseille. We had a super busy week. We had a dope event at Chatham University. Shout out to, you know, all of our artists that came through there. We tabled, and then, you know, I did my little speaking engagement at the Pittsburgh Racial Justice Summit. That was really cool.
that may be an episode coming soon.
Maybe.
And if you are in the Allegheny County area and you want to get involved in democracy, we are hiring for canvassers right now to make calls and texts and do phone banking. So like go look on our website, look on our Instagram. The application is there. If you can't do it full time, part time, you can always volunteer. We're going to have phone banking shifts this cycle. So again, just know there's ways to get involved and, you know, do direct democracy.
Yes. Trouble?
I will say Thursday we have a Pisces new moon. If you know anything about new moons, that means to set your intentions and make sure you set pretty strong intentions, because these next lunar cycles after are going to be eclipse season. It's going to be pretty difficult.
I need to set some intentions. You know, maybe that's my problem. My
Type
intentions
shit.
haven't been.
You know what I'm saying? Set them intentions. Make sure you check in on them on the quarter moons and in the full moon. Any intentions that you stuck with, you'll bear fruit. If not, you'll meet obstacles.
Beautiful.
You know what I'm
I feel like we should have had our chill music. Obviously, you're doing
It's all
something else
good.
over there. Saeed, you know what I'm saying? You all right? Any final thoughts from the thought? No final thoughts. Well,
yes, he does, because you know he only has 72 more hours to be a thought.
Ramadan is approaching. Obviously Ramadan is approaching. I like the Ramadan and not the daylight savings Ramadan. It's a lot more difficult. I like the Ramadan right now, but Ramadan is coming up to those who celebrate, Muslims who celebrate. It's time to get back on our deen and back on our focus. I feel like we both could use that right now. as we about to go to Miami, right? What wins, the sun or the moon? With that being said,
wow.
With that being said,
we're having Ramadan in Babylon.
We will see y'all next week. Peace. This week in White Supremacy, y'all. One Hood.